Okay, guys, welcome to Sports Matters TV and a special. This is the Undertaker Thank You Taker special, episode 3, WrestleSlam. Big, huge thanks to everyone that tuned into WrestleSlam episode 2. Yet again, the support has been incredible. Episode 1 has already done over 4,000 views, no promotion, which is unreal. Episode 2 is going up the ranks nicely, and as I said, this is episode 3. We felt it was only right to do something special for The Undertaker, perhaps the greatest wrestling icon of all time. The three lads next to me, obviously Matt, Phil and Jonathan, know all about The Undertaker. One's met him, myself and Phil were supposed to meet him, and no doubt myself, Matt and Phil will meet him at some stage. We're going to talk about all these incredible WrestleMania events, all these matches, all the stories, and obviously the documentary, The Last Ride, which is incredible. I think this alone, it deserves it. If there was such thing as an Oscar for a documentary, it should get it. It was that good. First of all, lads, The Undertaker has retired. Now, always going to be debatable, but it looks like this is actually the last ride. First of all, Matt, tell us, The Undertaker, The Last Ride, the whole retirement. What do you think?
Oh man, the documentary was just absolutely amazing. I'll even say, to be honest, I don't think you have to be a wrestling fan to really enjoy it. You can just follow, even if you don't know anything about The Undertaker, you can just watch him and know, oh, he's an old wrestler, he's a big deal, and you can follow his path. So I would love to see it at least being nominated for an Oscar. But that's just me. But it's just interesting because we got to see not The Undertaker, it was just Mark Calloway. For the first time, we're seeing him really break in character and really open up to himself and showing who he is and what he's like outside the ring and his experiences. And honestly, if it goes on for another 5 more episodes, you can just listen to it and enjoy it even more because you want to know more about this man. Because it doesn't matter if we're the toppest Undertaker fans of all time, there's more we like to know about him, about his character and about himself. But the documentary showed that a lot. And of course, I got emotional at the last episode. I was like, yeah, this is the best way to end this for The Undertaker. So he should be proud of his career, and we should all be happy about all the matches he's done, even at his worst times. So absolutely amazing documentary, amazing watch. So
definitely. Now, Phil, we have to speak because I know, Phil, you have so many VHSs, so many DVDs. The Undertaker's probably on 85% of all them, okay? But he's been around since 1990, that debut. Tell us, first of all, Phil, what did you think of that documentary? It's definitely a masterpiece in my opinion.
It's probably the best documentary WWE have ever produced. It's very hard to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like seeing the human side of him. We've never seen that over the last 30 years. Think of it, because we know social media, we knew nothing about him in the 90s, just growing up. Even just there recently, I read a story that he was considering going to WCW.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard that until just recently, because there's just nothing about him growing up. But even my first memories of him would have been WrestleMania 9, I think.
Yeah.
Even though the match was not the best with Andre Jenkins.
It was memorable at least.
Well, he's even said himself that recently that he didn't want the match.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually reading about him saying it's the reason why he left WCW in the first place, because they were trying to feud with him.
It's mad.
But the documentary is something special. Like Matt said, anybody could watch it. It's not just about wrestling.
Yeah.
It's just about this guy who's kind of trying to gain peace with himself.
Yeah.
And trying to come to terms this is it, this is over. But personally, I don't think he's done.
It's tricky. Jonathan,
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so, no?
No, I think he wants that match in front of the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing we could do about it because, him and AJ.
Oh, no, I know, but it'll be next year, I think, at WrestleMania.
Probably, yeah. I would like to see him wrestle one more match, but if his time is done, we can't twist his arm. He's wants to be retired. So we need to respect that like we do with The Undertaker.
Oh, no, I totally...
One more match would be great.
I totally love the fact that he's kind of come to terms with peace, because, that's the hardest thing to let go of something.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Jonathan, what do you reckon, my man? Obviously, you've met the man. You've... First of all, what was it like meeting him, Jonathan? I always want to know, you went over to the UK to meet him, but what was it like to actually meet him?
Oh, it was probably more so than any other wrestler that I've met, because I mean he's been my favorite since day one, since 1993, and like I never dreamed in a million years I'd get a chance to actually meet him. So it was surreal. It was just like, you know, is this actually happening? And he was really, really nice and down to earth as well. The guy you see in the documentary is kind of the guy that I met. Like, you know, he was really, really nice and down to earth. There was a crazy queue of people to meet him. I mean, it was he had an amazing crowd turnout for him. Like, so, you know, the meet and greet was fast, but like I told him, I'd been a fan of his since day one, and I asked him what his favorite match was, and he said Shawn Michaels, the match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. So it was cool to hear that his favorite was was mine as well. So, but it was a dream come true to meet him, and it was just awe-inspiring. You know, probably more so than any other wrestler I've met. It was amazing.
Definitely. What do you think of the documentary?
Oh, just pretty much everything the lads have already said. It was. You really wouldn't have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy it. You know, there's such a story, and it's so raw. You know, I mean, it's one thing, you know, pulling back the curtain and showing Mark Holloway, but he was raw to such a degree, you know, with his doubts and fears and everything about, you know, becoming he literally said it, you know, that he feared becoming a parody of himself. Yeah. I mean, coming from Undertaker, that's pretty strong. And, you know, you see the ups and downs.
I think he's crashed.
And that's live, lads. So that's what it's all about. But Phil, what do you reckon? Obviously, what Jonathan was saying there.
Just about like how humanized and kind of raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's back.
Did you lose me?
We did. But look, that's live TV, Johnny. It's all good, my man.
I think that was the Undertaker, lads. The Undertaker just down there.
Yeah, that was a sign. That was a sign. That was.
That happens.
I was talking about Matt Holloway.
Yeah. So we'll get back. You were saying basically you're on about the documentary.
Yeah, like it was just so raw, and there was nothing hidden. You know, the failures of some of the matches in Saudi Arabia, what happened with Goldberg and the tag match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I mean, you know, he just laid it out there, you know, and it would have been easy to kind of butter things up and package things in a certain way that, you know, it didn't come across as, you know, the way it was, but he didn't do that. He was completely raw, and that was really admirable.
You know what I really liked about it as well? They mentioned like Starcast and the AEW.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of kept it. Like, it was the most realistic thing I think I've seen WWE do.
But Vince didn't like that apparently. I think Vince, like, they fell out over.
Oh yeah, he mentions they had a falling out about it.
Yeah.
Like,
he pulled from it even, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, like Taker told Vince, "I'm not going to show up on AEW."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Undertaker's a WWE guy. He's just a WWE guy. He's not going anywhere. Even being retired,
like what would happen if he went to WCW? Like, he surely couldn't have been Undertaker. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
I actually saw a really funny meme there the other day. It was one of those kayfabe, one of those parody headlines, and it says the Mortician shows up in Impact Wrestling, and it's a picture of Undertaker. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, but he would have just been like the American Badass with like a different name.
Yeah, sure. Probably. I wouldn't have worked.
Thank God it never did happen. Thank God.
But the thing is, like, we were trying to find out what time frame it was, and we think it's early '97.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
We'll have to. More will come out, no doubt.
I was just going to mention real quick about the documentary. I don't know if you guys remember this bit, but this bit hit me hard. Besides the retirement, was his match with Ric Flair at WrestleMania 18. When he went backstage, and Ric Flair said, "I think I'm done," and then Taker just says, "Okay, I don't understand that." then Taker got to the age where he's looking back on it, but like, now I know what it means. So it was like the older he got, the more he actually realizes. So even if he pretty much said back then, he still felt like a rookie in some ways. So he just like thinks about that. So.
Yeah. Now, lads, speaking of all the WrestleManias, okay, there's been so many WrestleManias that the Undertaker's been involved in. You know, like we're going all the way back to, like, you know, I suppose you could say 1991. Obviously, Jimmy Snuka. That's where it all began. That's where the streak started. Jake the Snake Roberts, Giant Gonzalez. That's Phil's favorite one. King Kong, King Kong Bundy, Diesel, Psycho Sid, Kane, the Big Boss Man, Triple H, Ric Flair, the A Train, and the Big Show. I wasn't really fond of that one, to be honest. No disrespect to the lads, but you know, I think Kane, obviously Randy Orton's there, Batista, Mark Henry, Edge, Shawn Michaels. It's very hard just to pick one, lads, but which one stood out for you the most? Obviously, we know Jonathan's a big fan of the Shawn Michaels one, but Phil, what would stand out for you to be, I suppose, that standout match? I love the AJ one. Yeah, I love the AJ one. But
you know, I don't really like the match, but it's one of my favorite Taker entrances is WrestleMania 14.
Yeah.
I actually don't like the match for Kane. I just don't like it.
Yeah. Oh, really?
No, I don't like it. I just think there's just too much. The story of it is brilliant. The match itself isn't great. But my favorite Taker match is actually probably the Michaels one.
Yeah.
At 25.
Yeah. Has to be.
Yeah, it was something special.
But for entrances, WrestleMania 14 was amazing. I love that Druids fire.
The match was almost 18 minutes long, but I think it was in Boston. But yeah, I remember that entrance was actually incredible. 98, I think. That was a good.
It was 98. But a lot of people actually think the matches. I watched the match recently. I just don't think it holds up.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype as well, though, I suppose, because Cam.
Well, the storyline's amazing.
Yeah.
And the whole build-up, but the thing is, like, I guess maybe because I've been watching a lot of 98s at the moment.
Yeah.
That I've seen so much Taker and Kane. It's like.
Yeah, it was a good time to be alive, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Just rewatching it is, I don't know. Yeah. There's something about it. I don't know what it is.
I really liked the Psycho Sid match. 97. I think it was WrestleMania 13, where he won the WWF Championship. That was pretty good. It was a long match as well. Probably one of his longest matches.
Yeah.
I love the visual at the end of it where he's there with the title on the knee with the purple lighting and everything. I think that's one of the most iconic visuals of probably WWE history, even, you know.
Definitely.
What about you, Matt?
I was actually going to say, like, because my favorite WrestleMania moment was WrestleMania 14 with him and Kane, because I thought, the match wasn't great, but it was unreal seeing two brothers face each other. Next to that was The Undertaker versus Psycho Sid at WrestleMania 13 when he first won the title at WrestleMania. But I'm going to be fair. I won't say Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker because that match on its own is amazing. I won't copy and paste Jonathan's statement from the last episode. But probably has to be not just my favorite WrestleMania moment, not just my favorite Undertaker moment, but also Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And that's Hell in a Cell, The Undertaker versus Triple H, Shawn Michaels as referee. That match alone, I remember when Shawn Michaels sweet-chin the Undertaker and Triple H gave him a pedigree, 1, 2, and Undertaker just kicked out. I remember I jumped on my seat as in, are you kidding me? I literally thought that, that's it. Undertaker's done, but no. At that moment, you think you can't beat the Undertaker. It's official. So even the three guys, even will miss. Even Shawn had no part in the match, but as a referee, they're looking back on it to this day and just think, we did that. Perfect. And them just on the stage together is just something amazing and something that they're very proud of, which I'm happy for.
It's actually
an actual moment in wrestling, I think.
It's actually something me and you talked about recently, John, about the storytelling of the match.
Yeah, that was, that was another level altogether.
Yeah.
Like just like he was talking about Shawn as the referee there, even Shawn's role, he added so much to that as the referee. The visuals there again, where he's conflicted about, whether to stop the match because they're beating each other so badly And then he ends up, like Matt was saying, the switch in music. That was, before that, the one year I thought the streak might end was the match with Randy Orton. I thought it was going to be that year. But since then, I kind of figured maybe the one with Batista, I was kind of doubting it a bit as well. But since then, I kind of, had a feeling that he would usually win. But when Michaels did the switch in music into the pedigree, like, that was one moment where, like, it's done. This is just the perfect ending, and he kicks out. That was such a cool moment. But yeah, them on top of the stage together after that 4-year build, and the way their whole careers kind of coincided with each other through the years then as well. That's my favorite moment of my wrestling fandom for sure. I think I got a little teary-eyed watching that, to be honest. That was something else.
Lads, we have to talk about the last match. The last match, WrestleMania 36, Boneyard. Obviously, there was no crowd there. Obviously, we, yourselves, we've seen what happened. But tell us, what you think of the match with AJ Styles? Was it the right call?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Now, of course, the one thing that I was upset about is, like, it wasn't in front of the crowd, but we all know the reason why. We won't get into it. But the fact how they kind of like played it, like, kind of more cinematically, and shows more about the Undertaker, like, in his own environment, and showing what he can do even with outside the crowd, not even in front of the crowd, is saying something. So, I think it's a good call facing AJ Styles, because AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers we have today, and the fact that they would even know each other, they would know how to get in each other's skin, and especially this is the first time we're seeing the Undertaker kind of as Mark Calloway, when AJ Styles like called out Michelle McCool about what he's like. It was a perfect good build-up, but I believe that's a good way to end the match. Again, I prefer in the crowd, but there's nothing we can do about that, unfortunately. So, but I think it's a good way to end his career.
Phil, do you reckon he's going to have one more match?
Yes, 100%. I think it'll be a case of Vince McMahon calling him and saying, we need one more match, basically.
Who's he going to wrestle? That's the question.
AJ again, I'd say. I think AJ in just with crowd.
Yeah.
But like I was actually half thinking that it might be Survivor Series, because Survivor Series is in Texas and 30 years since Undertaker debuted.
He's definitely going to be there in some capacity for sure anyway.
Yeah.
Johnny, what do you reckon? Do you reckon he's got one more match in him? Obviously, he's got one more match, but do you reckon he's going to come back for that one more match? Because it does seem like the perfect send-off, the Boneyard match, the whole, Last Ride documentary. Are we going to get that one more match where we can actually say, thank you, Taker?
It's risky. Like you just said there, that send-off after the Boneyard, him riding off into the darkness, and it went so well. It was like that was the first time that match brought me back to being a fan as a kid. It just became real. You were in it, in that way, like, and I absolutely loved it. So it's risky, because if he comes back and has another one and it doesn't go quite as well, he'll probably, feel like he needs to redeem himself again. Like, that they went through.
I know what you mean.
In the documentary.
It becomes a kind of endless circle of like, what am I doing?
Does, I mean, like, selfishly, I really wish he would, because I've never seen him wrestle live in person. And I was supposed to be, as you know, going to WrestleMania this year. So if things had gone ahead, I would have seen him in AJ live. So it's a bit of a bitter pill for me. That whole. But I think it's risky. He probably is better off leaving it at the Boneyard, because the Boneyard match kind of encapsulates as well his whole career, his ability as a storyteller, the character, everything. I don't think he necessarily needs the proper actual wrestling match, but then again, he might want that final gratification of closing the career in front of a big crowd on a big stage again. So I don't know, it's pretty open, but I if I was him, I would probably leave it at the Boneyard. I don't think you can get a better than that.
Yeah, I was forgot to mention about the Boneyard. It was kind of unreal just seeing the Undertaker, not just in the Boneyard match, but we're seeing kind of mixture of the Undertaker and the American Badass at the same time. So it's kind of like best of both worlds. Those who grew up watching Undertaker being the Phenom, the Dead Man, and seeing the American Badass that would come out one. It's just kind of unreal. So it got good way to end it by showing these two sides of him.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say back in the day we were all scared shitless of the Undertaker?
It's funny because like you would think so. I mean, I was scared shitless of Yokozuna. I would literally run out of the room when Yokozuna would come out on the TV and just cry. But Undertaker, I don't know, from day one I was just a fan, like, and I don't know. No, he never scared me for some reason. Yokozuna was kind of the main one that really got to me when I was younger.
Yeah. I must actually check out to see if he's wrestled in Ireland. I don't know. I think there might have been a story where the Undertaker has wrestled.
I think we were talking about this recently. I think he did, didn't he, John?
Undertaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was here in 2007 or 6 maybe, and I think he was here in the early 90s as well.
Live show maybe.
My friend saw him in 2000. It was either 6 or 7, and one of my cousins saw him in the early 90s, maybe 93 or 94, I think. So yeah, he's been here a couple of times, and of course I fucking missed him.
Like me and Jerry got lucky to see him last year.
Yeah, Aloysius.
Yeah.
Anyone that interrupts me will be a dead man. Boom! The whole place just erupt. But
yeah, not jealous at all, lads. Not jealous at all.
Yeah, you've met him though, Johnny. You've met him. But look, we will make a pact that when he does come back to the UK or even Ireland, hopefully Cypress Avenue or the Opera House, bring him. But we'll make sure that we're all there. So lads, we've got about 2.5 minutes left before we get cut off. Zoom have this new thing where they'll cut you off after 40 minutes.
I was just gonna say, it was like all of you are close to meeting the Undertaker, and I'm just there like I just want to get closer.
Can I just ask you one question about Undertaker actually?
Yeah.
Who would you like all his WrestleMania opponents he fought? Like, who would you like to see who he never fought at WrestleMania?
Sting, 100% Sting.
Sting.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to say Chris Jericho.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Good call.
And there's also Kurt Angle as well, which that was. I don't know why.
Great matches. Yeah, him and Angle.
I don't know why he never fought.
Yeah.
I think Sting as well, because that's always been like the number one fantasy card of if at the time WCW versus WWE had actually happened, or better, maybe Sting versus the Undertaker, definitely.
Mm.
Definitely.
I think cinematically even that could be done really well, but I think the day has probably come and gone for that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, lads, it's been close to 40 minutes. Yet again, we have this thing popping up on my screen where it says that Zoom will cut you off in 3 minutes because Zoom have this thing where you need to upgrade if you're doing 40 minutes. So, look, I think they just want us to shut up, which is good. But anyway, thank you, Zoom, by the way. Thank you, Zoom, for giving us this chance. Yet again, 40 minutes, The Undertaker special. It absolutely flew. For some reason, I only felt like 5 minutes. I don't know why, but
yeah.
How gracious the man was. If you haven't seen The Last Ride, check it out. Obviously, he's given us, 30 years of incredible memories. Thank God he didn't go to WCW, although I did like WCW, but it just wouldn't have been the same. The show will be up tonight, lads, so we'll make sure to give it a good share and stuff. Episode 4 will be 2 weeks' time, WrestleSlam. Yet again, a big thanks to everyone that's been sharing all our shows and watching them. Yet again, Undertaker, a.k.a. Mark Calloway, thank you very much. I know the lads will say thank you as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for everything. Thanks.
And we'll load out.
Thank you, Taker.
Thank you, Taker. Good way to sign off. Yet again, the show will be up tonight, lads, and thank you for joining me as always. It means a lot.
Thanks, John.
Lads.